I love you both, but y'all are going to hell. I'm not that kind of Christian.
That's a sticky wicket. So
Ish.
I got sprinkled as a baby, but
I needed to get baptized, and she was like, okay, nearest church.
Love everybody. Why do you got to be so mean?
That dude hung out with like literal prostitutes, abandoning their own beliefs.
that's to keep the flock in line, right?
Are you a Catholic priest?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I've had a Bible thrown at me.
When you're dancing, they were like, leave room for the Holy Spirit.
Or dancing to the Gospels.
I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening when they hit those pearly gates.
Hello, welcome to Social Intercourse. Guys, you know I love you, right? I love you both, but y'all are going to hell. And I'm
Yay.
judging you harshly. Kidding. I'm not that kind of Christian. Just putting it out there.
But some
Mission
people are,
accomplished.
Some people are.
and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, let's talk about Christian love, Christian judging, and acceptance, non-acceptance. So, Randy, you live in Kentucky. I bet
I
there's a
do.
lot of Christians there.
There are, and they're pretty judgy in these parts. They're very quick to, and I don't want to single out Kentucky. It may just be a Southern thing. I think religion
We're
is
in
a little bit
Texas.
more. Oh, right. I think religion is definitely more prevalent in the South in general. But yeah, these people, there are some Christians that feel it's their right or maybe even their duty to judge people pretty harshly, and that confuses me because I feel like Jesus in the Bible. I grew up Catholic, so I am no longer Catholic, but I spent a lot of years studying the Bible, and I know that's not what Jesus taught us to do. And so I can't ever really reconcile that behavior with Christianity, but it's pretty
Right.
rampant.
Wait, Vicky, are you a recovering Christian? Is that what they call them? Or, I don't know.
It's usually recovering Catholic, but I think for me, I'm Christian because I think I've tried everything under the sun. So it's probably a better umbrella term. So yeah.
Were you raised Catholic or just no?
That's a sticky wicket. So
Ish.
I'm the product of an interfaith marriage.
Oh,
So my dad was Catholic and my mom was Protestant. And back in the day, that was a big damn deal. And half her family didn't even come to the wedding because she was marrying a Catholic, and that was awful
oh,
and
okay.
like disowned. And so
Wow.
she had to go to catechism in order to get married in the Catholic Church because my dad wouldn't feel married unless they were married in Catholic Church. My mom didn't give a shit. So she went through catechism and she had to be confirmed, even though she wasn't allowed to be like a real Catholic. So many rules. Anyway, so then she had to promise to raise me Catholic. And when she made the promise, like her fingers are like this behind her back. Sure. So I got sprinkled as a baby, but then I never went through catechism and got confirmed in the Catholic Church. I was baptized in the Protestant church that she was in. So she won.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
yeah. So I got both. But I got dragged to mass plenty. So yeah.
Yeah, because I grew up Catholic. I still say I'm Catholic. I still will go to Catholic church, mass. I went through the whole baptism and confirmation, you know, what is that? Actually, I got my
Confirmation.
baptism, well,
First
confirmation,
communion.
first communion. And it's interesting because I thought I was baptized as a baby because I was in Sunday school since I can like remember. But I had my baptism at like 7 years old. And I was like, what is going on, Mom? Why
Yeah, I
was
got
I not
baptized twice
as a
too.
baby? It was strange.
They got to make it stick.
I was baptized Methodist, and it was this big deal when I was in second grade whether or not I was going to be able to get confirmed with everybody.
Oh,
They,
because
they
you're
let
Methodist.
me do it. Yeah, I was baptized Methodist. I don't know why they baptized me Methodist, but I think they were
Yeah.
just like told my mom I needed to get baptized, and she was like, "Okay, nearest church." Like it didn't register. And then
Right.
my family started going to church and everything when I in first grade when I started in Catholic school, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
to keep it cohesive. But yeah, they almost didn't let me make my first communion with everybody. But then somebody said it was okay all of a sudden,
Because they make up their rules.
As I say, I feel like
which
Catholic rules
is,
are real bendy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make them up as you go. And that's what, when I was bringing up this topic to you guys, because I had friends who had an encounter with some church ladies. And the church ladies were judging them so harshly because they are part of the gay community. And it's like, this is what I hate about people who say that they're the same faith as I am. Why are you judging? Why are you even putting your 2 cents into someone else's life? Because you're not the judge. If you're following your faith, you're not the judge. Who's the judge? God is. So, and God says just love everybody. So love everybody. Why do you got to be so mean? Why do you have to tell
Well,
people
depends
they're
on
going to go to
which God you're. If you're Old Testament God, he doesn't love everybody. But if you're New Testament God, he loves everybody.
But most,
So it kind of depends.
Most Christianity is New Testament. So,
Right.
and if you just look at the examples that we have of Jesus's behavior in the Bibles, that dude hung out with like literal prostitutes and treated them with
sinners.
so much
Yeah.
love and so much respect. And for some reason, it's just not carrying over. Like that idea is just not landing with a lot of people that call themselves Christians. And I say call themselves Christians because I don't, if you're not behaving in a Christ-like manner, or at least trying, how can you call yourself a Christian? How can you
Right.
be a follower of Christ?
Yeah. I mean, I've had people say to me, "Oh, you're Christian?" And in many different ways. Other Christians, when I say I'm Christian, and they're like, "But no, you're Catholic." I'm like, yeah, that's
Catholics are
Christianity.
Christian.
Yeah.
We follow the word of Christ. It is Christian." But I've had people who are like, "Wait, you can't be Christian. You like have stones and crystals and minerals, and you like do uh, past life regressions." I was like, yeah, but I'm still Christian. I still like, usually when I do the past life regressions, a lot of the times I'm like, I'm gonna go see God in my past life or something. I'm hoping to see God, get some answers, and get closer to God. So, and crystals and minerals was given to us, to me, by the universe, which is God. And he gave me those things to help me in this life right now. So, I don't know.
I One of my favorite things that I've ever read is a Hindu proverb, and it says, "There are many paths up the mountain. They all lead to the same place. It doesn't matter which path you take. The only wrong way to do it is to be the one running around in circles around the bottom of the mountain, telling everyone else they're doing it wrong. That's the person that never makes it up the mountain, right?" And so, and I'm probably butchering that. If you look it up online, it's said way more eloquently, but I think that's kind of the approach that I take. There's so many different ways to God and
Mhm.
to commune with divinity, or even just be your best self and live your best life, or even just if you want to like really take it to the base level, there are so many different ways to just love. And when
Right.
you're the person running around telling everybody you're loving wrong and you don't love this person, you can love this person but not this person, that's kind of like the person running around the base of the mountain. They're the ones that have it wrong, in my opinion.
Mhm. No, because really, who are we to go around saying you're just wasting your own energy, your own breath on what? Like, mind yourself. Make sure you have a good heart and a good openness to people, because the day you go and your God is judging you, he's going to see, were you kind to people or were you not kind to people? And you go around saying like hiding behind the Bible and using the Bible as sort of a barrier for you to be kind to other people, it's wrong. The Bible never tells you to be unkind to people. So I don't know.
I think there's a
So the question is why do people do it then? What is the
exactly,
motivation behind them doing it?
That's what I
exactly,
would like to
Vicky.
know.
And I thought about
It's
this.
power.
I
Go
thought
ahead, Rachel.
maybe um, I think people get confused about how to react or what to do when they run across someone whose belief counters their own, right? So I think okay, if you believe homosexuality is a sin for whatever reason, and you run across a gay couple, I think people don't know what to do with that. Like, how are they supposed to treat that person? How are they supposed to act? I think they're afraid that if they're kind and loving to that gay couple, that means they condone the lifestyle, that they are abandoning their own beliefs and jumping on board with them somehow. And it's like, no, unless you have like a same-sex person in your bed at night, you're not condoning it. Like, you can still love that person and not agree with their lifestyle, but behave in a loving way. And I think that's where people, they can't figure out quite how to do that. It does get messy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like that. What do you think, Vicky? You said
I like the
power?
power.
I mean, I think there's two people. There's a set of people that are kind of in Randy's camp who actually maybe want to help you because they think you are going to a place that they believe is awful. So they're reaching out so that you don't end up in a place that they think is terrible and you just don't know any better, which I think is kind, patronizing. It's somewhere in between. But then there's the other set where it's used to raise themselves above you or have power over you so that you fall in line. Like I went to Baptist church camp and I was told I was going to hell because I didn't follow, I wasn't baptized in their church and I was 7. So like that kind of shit is a power trip.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on the end of that, and that's to keep the flock in line, right? So you have to go around and judge other people because that sets you above them, and that kind of falls into the whole like missionary thing, which I also can't stand because they feel like they have to go into these third world countries and like raise them up, and I just that whole thing, that's another issue. But anyway, that kind of, in my opinion, that falls
Yeah.
under that.
It's
So
interesting you
there's
brought that up, trying to like convert people or tell them like, oh, I love you. And so when I was younger, my grandmother, every Sunday our family would get ready to go to church, and we would drop our grandmother off nearby at her Buddhist temple because she's Buddhist. And I just remember as I got older, I would go to confession a little too much because I just thought I was supposed to go to confession like all the time.
You start making stuff up.
Father Luke was like, Rachel, or he is my my baptism name, Christina. You do not need to come every week with the
Things really
same.
aren't that bad. A couple of Hail Marys and you're fine.
He's like, sometimes you have to work on the things. You can't just keep doing the same things, coming in and saying, "Well, I did this again." But I remember I sat with him in high school, and I actually had like a deep conversation, saying, "Listen, my grandmother's Buddhist, and I want to see her in heaven. What am I supposed to do? Like, I can't change my grandma's, she's been Buddhist for longer than me and my siblings combined as long as we've been Catholic." And he looked at me, he's like, don't worry about it. You don't need to, you don't need to change her. You don't need to convert her. You just pray. She has her faith. She has her belief, and you have yours, and he will work it out. You will see the ones you love. Do not worry about it. I was like, are you a Catholic priest?
Right, exactly. He's an outlier.
I was like, but it made me feel like you're right. I don't need to stress over this. He's like, just pray. Just keep praying for her. Pray for her. Um, Pray for her soul. Pray for yourself. You'll be fine. It's like, okay, I will not lose any more sleep over this, because I was very, very disturbed by the fact. I was like, I'm not going to see my grandma. That's really sad to me. But
do you think she was going into the Buddhist temple going, I'm worried about my family because they're all Christian? No, because Buddhists don't care. Buddhists don't judge. So
Buddhists are the only ones that don't go around judging people, it seems like.
Exactly. So yeah, I would have gone to temple with my grandmother.
Another another issue that kind of always bothered me about religion in general is they have these rules, and it's like as long as you follow these rules, you're covered. Like
Mm.
they're like the CYA rules. Like, so for instance, Catholics are very big on going to mass, right? And I sort of felt like as long as I had my Indian butt sitting in that pew for the requisite amount of hours each week, that like I was good, or as long as I like recited enough prayers, or I did the sort of things that religion gives to you, it's
Mhm.
like you're going to go to heaven and you're going to be fine. I disagree with that. I think if there is a heaven and hell, which I don't necessarily, I don't know that that's really true. But if there is, I would think that the person who was out loving people and doing, spreading love into the world and helping people and actually taking action, I would think that person would go to heaven before somebody that just spends their time sitting in a pew and doing all the right things. But, religion of Catholics, at least, I don't think believe that. A lot of Christians
No,
don't.
you get a free pass. As long as you can
Yeah.
commit murder, as long as you go confess and do your penance,
On your
then
deathbed.
you can kill as many people as you want.
See,
Really.
that goes back to what Father Luke told me. I can't just keep coming to confession and say, like, I
You got to
did
work on
this.
stuff.
I'm done
Father
now.
Luke was an anomaly. Let's just,
Like,
put that
no,
out there.
I mean, and it's not just him, other priests. Like, you have to actually work on those
Right.
issues that
But
you have,
but
the
we like
sins that
people
you
like Father Luke. Those are the Christians we want to keep around, right? The ones that aren't judgy and are like, you do you and you let them do them and
right.
just pray your little heart out and be good. And like that's the Christian that I don't mind in my
Uh,
circle.
I lived in West Hollywood for many, many years. Ranji lived there too. And
Mm-hmm.
I would walk to church every Sunday, and it was a Catholic church. And I loved it because West Hollywood in California is a, um,
Gay Mecca.
it's gay Mecca. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it is the congregation, is it called congregation in Catholicism? Well, yeah, congregation was made
The
up of
parish
mostly,
or
I think it's
whatever.
congregation, was
Mm.
made up mostly of gay men in church,
Yeah,
and
I don't get it.
uh, and all sorts of colorful human beings. We were all part, like just, and I loved it. And there was no mass gospel where the father would go up there and say like, "This is what's going to happen to you," blah blah blah. No, he never. He just said everyone's accepted here. Everybody is part
I
of
love that.
this loving communion. And his gospel's
Yeah.
always, he always taught me about new books. His gospel's always, it's about something he read, a book he read. And I was just like, I love this. This is my favorite church. This is wonderful.
How did he get around the fact that the Catholic Church teaches that that's a sin and that their lifestyle is an abomination? Did he ever bring that up or did he ever talk about it? That's
No,
the disconnect I don't understand. There's a lot of
yeah.
Christians that are okay with people being gay. Not Catholics, but other Christian
So,
denominations that are fine with it. But Catholics in particular teach that. And
what
yet
I
so many
read,
gay people still go. Hmm.
recently, actually today, recently as of like a few hours ago,
An hour ago.
um, because I was looking to see like what does the Catholic Church think about LGBTQ community,
Mm.
transgender right now. And there's actually a lot of denominations and parts of the Catholic Church. I think I read as of 2017 and other years where they're inclusive. They say it's not a sin. They said it is not a sin. It's not. Um,
What's the Pope say?
I don't know what the
Our
Pope said. I didn't look
our
He's
that
a
up.
new
last
Pope, so I don't know. He
our
might have,
latest
Mhm.
yeah, he's a
and I
good
don't
dude.
keep up with it because again I don't really identify as Catholic, but our latest Pope, I think he's still the Pope. Like he's considered pretty
Yeah, he is.
radical in those circles, right?
Mm,
Because he is more
mm-hmm.
inclusive, and it
Mhm.
really upset all the right people, I think.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Compared to the last guy they had. Oof.
Yeah,
Anyway.
because again, the whole point is it's about love, the teaching of
Mm.
Jesus, of God, and really Christianity. It's about love.
All
Yeah, I mean, I've
religion.
had a Bible.
Yeah.
I've had a Bible thrown at me. Like I've
Right.
been
It's
hit.
like, this is
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Why are people
coming out of a rock concert, I was hit with a couple mini Bibles telling me what a horrible sinner I was from going to listen to rock music. And if you think that's going to make me go on to your side,
Yeah,
I got news for you. It does the opposite. So
exactly.
you can judge me all you want.
Yeah.
Like I said, Rachel's like, we're going to hell. I'm like, mission accomplished, because that's going to be
It's,
fun,
you
because
know,
all my
as
gay
We'll
friends and rock and roll
we'll
guys
all
are
be
going to be
there.
there, and we'll all be there together. You guys will be there. It'll be fun.
it's really
Heaven will be
funny
glory.
because growing up,
It'll
my
be
church,
warm.
Holy Angels,
It's true.
Catholic Church in Philadelphia. Little
Mm.
shout out to Holy
Little
Angels.
plug in there.
Uh, I was part of the youth group, and I was one of the officers of the youth group, and we would hold church dances. And it's funny because across the street from us was I believe it was a Presbyterian church. There's a few Presbyterian
Ooh, I
churches
went
around.
there too. Went to
Yeah,
that
and
too.
whenever Holy Angels had their dances, those churches would have lock-ins with their teams because they were like, you are not allowed to go to the Holy Angels Catholic dance.
Why?
It
Because they
is
didn't separate you. Like when you're dancing, they were like, leave room for the Holy Spirit. They like go and separate you
no, I
two.
mean, that's not
I
what
don't
we
think they
did
were
at
allowed to
our
dance at
church.
all.
It was the other churches that would not allow their teens to come to our Catholic church dances. And
What were
they're
y'all
like,
doing there? Sounds
we
like a
were just
good time.
having a dance, and we would have, regular music. I guess they call it secular music. And
Secular music. You weren't dancing to the Gospels.
we weren't dancing to gospel songs. It was a regular dance, and what we were doing
Yeah.
is we were raising funds for like our youth groups and like for outings and stuff. And our church allowed it. They approved whatever songs. We actually had a kid who always his band would play too. So it
What's
was
the
just
deal with the music being like of the devil? I remember I went to a smaller Catholic school, but our principal was a nun, and we did some kind of field trip somewhere or something, and I was always too, well, I wasn't bad, but I was chatty when I shouldn't have been chatty, and so I had to ride in the car with the nun to go there as a punishment for something. And she was playing Madonna like a prayer.
I don't think she
Probably
realized
didn't know what it
it
was about. She probably didn't really know. She's like,
because
oh, this girl.
do people know what
I
that
was a
song
big
is
fan
actually
after that.
about?
I don't think she
Yeah,
ever
that
saw the
might be
video,
it.
probably.
Yeah, probably not. Probably
I
not.
mean, yeah. They knew if it was that it was about,
I
a
think the
certain
She's
words
sexual
listening
are
to
okay.
Madonna
It's
and
the
she's singing
visuals.
about prayer. What a
Yeah.
good
yeah.
girl.
I mean, if you think about the words, I think the words are probably okay, but the video tells a little bit of a different story. That nun probably never saw the video. But
No. No.
anyway,
You
I
can't.
digress. I don't know why we were talking about that.
Or
Oh, music
or
being evil.
they're a very open
Mm.
person, an open nun
Whoopi
who just
Goldberg.
Really
likes
elderly.
music. Yeah. But yeah, I was just thinking about the other denominations of Christianity where they also have like not fights, but arguments with each other. And I'm just like, why? We're all
They
Christians. Why are you
they get
fighting?
I think religion in general gets this wrong. This is why I kind of am a little about organized religion in general. They just get so mired down in the details. And I think that's where everybody gets it wrong. Like most religions on the face of this planet are the underpinning, the very base of it is love. But then they start putting all these details on top of it, and it gets so convoluted that people lose sight of the fact that it's really all about love and how to receive love and give love. And I don't know, religions just get so far off in left field with all the other stuff.
Right. I mean, I used to say that to myself as I was growing up. If I wanted to do something, I would say to myself, what would Jesus do? Jesus would not go.
WWJD.
Yeah, Jesus would not go throw a rock at that girl right now because she bumped into me. So, I would
I
have
don't
to.
know. Jesus had a little bit of a temper.
He turned the
You know,
tables over at the temple. when they were, what were they doing? Gambling or something?
Money lending and yeah.
Silly.
So, you
But
know,
yeah.
But he was kind of
Well,
younger then. Like he probably
I mean,
learned
no
some.
one's perfect, and he'd be the first one to say it. As a
yeah.
human, he was not perfect. You know,
Well, there's the story of I can't get the exact words, but the first who is without sin to cast the first stone. He didn't throw any
but he was right
stones,
on him. Right,
because
Yeah.
he knows we all got faults. We are all human. We are all, and it's about just wanting to do better.
But if you feel bad about your own life, putting someone else down sometimes makes you feel better. So sometimes I think that's where the judgy stuff comes in too. You're chasing around the mountain looking for people to tell that they're doing it wrong because you think you're doing it wrong instead of just minding your own business and going up the mountain.
Hey, listen.
Look, all these 57 people are wrong too, and I know what I'm doing, so I feel so much better. Meanwhile, 1,000 of them are up behind you going, woohoo, so.
I like to judge. I like to judge people on Am I the Asshole Reddit threads. I will
Oh, I do
judge
too.
assholes.
Oh, sure. Sure. But
To be fair, they offer themselves up for judgment in that case.
right. They do ask. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't
You
think
have
I
to,
don't judge anybody. I am human. I will have thoughts where I'm just like, oh, but it's like, will I say it out loud to somebody on purpose to hurt them? No. What is that going to accomplish? I will look to myself and think like, why did I just think that? I'd rather look into myself and think like, what can I do better? Instead of judging someone else or thinking something or anything.
Yeah, so before you leave a nasty comment about how much you hate me down below, think about it first.
I have this friend, we've been friends for a long time, and we're not as close as we were anymore because she has become so religious over the years that it's created a disconnect. Like she feels guilty for listening to like Lady Gaga and feels the need to like repent about that. So it's, to me, that's pretty radical. And I love her family. I always have. And it's funny because her mother is very, very Christian. Dare I say, like the Bible thumping kind of Christian. And she
Watch your
always
head.
tries
Yeah.
she always
Yes.
tries to talk about religion and convert me and try to get me to go to church. And she's left like autographed Bibles in the door, like signed with a little note to me on the front page. And it got to be too much, and I had to kind of step away eventually. But I know from her that it's coming from a good place. And she's like, Ranji, I just want you to make it to heaven with all of us. We just want to see you in heaven. And I'm just like, but I feel like if there's a heaven, I would go there. Like I try, I'm not perfect. I get stuff wrong all the time, but like I try, and I have good intentions. And she said that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have good intentions. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter what good you're out doing in the world. If you don't, accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, the one and only, and like do all the things, you're doomed, to go down with
She needs to talk to
Beelzebub.
Father Luke. She needs to go have a chat with Father Luke. That's what I say.
I don't think she'd be a fan of Father Luke.
Because she's
Yeah.
not Catholic, right?
It's really hard to reason with someone that's that radical about it. It's just there's no room for discussion.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because, again, people who are that radical can also be the warmest people with their hospitality and kindness. But then I'm just like, but are you sitting there thinking to yourself, that girl's going to hell? She is not going to heaven. And just, I don't know. It doesn't feel always right. They're just doing it to do it. But if you don't feel it in your heart, it's like what you were saying. You can do all the right things, but if you're not actually feeling it, are you? Yeah. How does that work? because I can pretend to be a nice person,
Yeah. Go through the motions.
go through the emotions, and think all of them, like really hate and spew in my own mind, like, oh, I hate these people so much. But I'm like, you're so silly, like, but with that, I don't think I'm going to go to heaven. It's like, you're an awful person. Like, I'll judge myself. Like, what is wrong with you? I don't
And
know. It's
without making this like political or any other, I'm not going to get into that, but a lot of the leaders that Christians support, it boggles my mind because their characteristics as a human are not Christ-like. And
mm-hmm.
that confuses me as well. How, whether it's evangelist or political figures, it's just like, how are you? But it's like if they give the right message, even if they're acting like a horrible, terrible person that doesn't have any love or tolerance for much of anybody, they will completely get behind and support that person, even though they behave in the most unchristlike fashion. And that
Mm-hmm.
confuses me as well.
Right.
Because it's a cult. That's what cults do. I said it.
Vicky
I
says
said
what we're
it.
all thinking.
It's a cult. And Rachel and I just watched a documentary on cults, and it's like, it boggles your mind that they buy into this thing that is against their own best interest. And what are they missing in their life that they're willing to give up their own best interest, autonomy, all those things to just parrot back this stuff that they spit out that they half the time don't even believe in. What's the name of the document? We should talk about that sometime later.
Well,
What's it called?
that'll be
Love,
it,
love.
it's finding your twin flame, or the search
Yeah.
for discovering your twin flame. It was an
And
interesting
everything's
show.
a
We'll
cult.
talk about that in the future.
I mean, I don't know how many cultists. And when I was in Korea, Seoul, it's like they are out on the
Oh
streets
my, there's
and
so many.
they
Yeah,
will aggressive.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. It just it makes me. It hurts me a lot, and I will. I have thought about this a lot. People using the same God that I love, that they love,
Mm,
and using it to be hateful or unkind to other people, to human beings that did nothing
Weaponizing
to
it.
them. Yeah.
right. To the
And it
extreme.
hurts me. And I'm like, we have the same love for the same God. And yet you're using that love to hurt somebody else. And it really hurts me. Like, don't do that. You're giving
It's
other
like
people bad, like other Christians, bad names with
it's like
that.
how do they not see that blind spot? Like how are they not real? Like how do you not see that?
Right.
I want to yell.
Mhm.
I
It's
don't, but I mean, I fantasize about just being like, like what?
How do you not see it?
right, again,
Yeah.
because you're gonna be kind to them. You're like, I think to myself, there's something else that goes on in their life. There's something that's causing them to spew
A lot
so
of
much hatred.
I think Vicky hit on something. I think there's just a lot of brainwashing. And I had an instance where one of my super religious friends um, didn't like something I posted on social media. And I'm very much like my spirituality is very eclectic. I've studied a lot of different religions and spiritual paths, and I kind of just take what resonates and form my own sort of ideas about
Mhm.
life and the world and where we come from and all the things, right? And so I post a variety of things on Facebook, and this person reposted my post in one of their Christian groups, really radical Christian groups, and I somebody told me that it was in there, and I ended up seeing it, or I don't remember what it was. It came through my feed, maybe, or something, that people were commenting on it, and it was supposed to be hidden from me. And
Mm.
I don't think the person knew that I was ever going to find out that they reposted it. And so they basically took my beliefs and like offered me up as a sacrifice for these people to just tear apart. And I was livid. And I thought, these are the most unchristian people I have ever encountered. Just nasty. I mean, and it was just like everybody just piling on. And I thought, how do you see Christ in any of this, people?
Mm-mm. Yeah.
And they support each other. And I think when you get a bunch of people around you and they're telling you everything's fine and they're supporting you and they're encouraging you, even, you get so far down the wrong path, you can't even see the
Mhm.
light of day.
Mhm.
I like to say, I think I might have said this to somebody. Um, if you're gonna go around saying you can't love someone of the same sex, that is not what God wants. That is
Mhm.
not natural. Then you know what? You cannot go have sex unless you're married. You better not do that. And I did say this to somebody growing up, and she was having sex all the time. And I was like, why are you having sex? That's not what God
Right.
wants for you. That's
So
not.
Catholics don't promote premarital sex whatsoever. And
Mhm.
that's problematic too. This might be a little bit of a tangent. I'm going to make it really short, but I'm passionate about this. They say, and I'm growing up Catholic, it's like sexuality is completely repressed. It's bad, it's evil. You need to, it's something to be kept under control. You're supposed to repress your urges. There's no healthy outlet for it that exists. And then suddenly you get married, and suddenly you're expected to be this wonderful, sensual, sexual being for your husband or wife, when meanwhile you've grown up with repressed sexuality your whole life. It just doesn't happen like that. A lot of Christian, or at least Catholic, people that are married have issues around that. You don't just suddenly flip your programming overnight because you have a ring on your finger, when you've learned your whole life is to repress your sexuality. I
So
think that's
I
unhealthy.
knew a friend. She was married pretty young, and her first husband, after they got married and they would have sex, he would go and take a shower immediately afterwards because he felt so dirty and
Dirty.
so wrong. And even though they're married, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
because for him, because he enjoyed it, and that was the
Sad.
problem. It's more about
Mhm.
procreating a child instead of enjoying it. And I was like, no, no, God wants you to enjoy it too. Okay, especially if you're married, go enjoy yourself. Like, I don't know, and it made me think of that right now. But yeah, I had that fear too. I grew up with that idea, like, oh my gosh, if I have sex outside of marriage, I'm gonna like get struck down and like. So I stayed a virgin for a long time, and then like the first time that I had sex, I was like, am I okay?
You're looking for the lightning bolt to come strike you down?
Am I? But I'm fine. And God still loves me. Hello. I know that. He's brought lots of things into my life. So,
I don't
no.
understand
It's
why
okay.
sex has to be demonized. It's not anything that's horrible or dirty. I mean, I think you have to give it the proper respect because it can result in creating a life, and
Mhm.
you got to be careful and ready for that. But I don't
Right.
understand that it's so unhealthy to repress it. We're human beings, which means we're part animal and part divine, and we have a sex drive. That's natural
It's
and
all
normal.
control. Mm.
It is.
It's just control. Just what cults do to control people that are in it so they don't start thinking for themselves and get out. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, we kind of, we didn't digress. It's still part of the
I mean,
talk.
people would judge you for, yeah, I mean, it's a judging thing. People would judge you if you have a child out of wedlock or whatever. Although I
Mhm.
know some Catholic friends who did that and went through some classes and paid their fine or their due or whatever you want to call it to the church so that they could have a wedding and got married and everything was fine. You know,
Yeah.
it's bullshit. I'm sorry.
I
Like, at
I mean,
least
in
stick
in
to your
my
own rules.
in
Yeah.
my high school growing up, I didn't realize it at the time, but we were very sheltered. I mean, people weren't really doing drugs. I didn't have a drink until I was 16 years old. And that was really taboo. People weren't really having sex. I mean, there were some, but like you kind of look down on
Wait,
that
your
girl or
Catholic school, or
what?
weren't
Yeah.
the kids in your Catholic school weren't? Okay, on the East Coast where I grew up, all the Catholic
Yeah.
school girls and boys were having sex like they were the most
Our
promiscuous.
Catholic school was the biggest drug dealer in the city. That's where we all went to get pot and stuff, was from the Catholic school kids.
Yeah, no, my Catholics, we were really good kids. Like, and you know, the people that were like smoking weed or whatever, they'd be like dressed in black and over on the hill by themselves, like kind of, you know, nobody really wanted to be around him. It was, you know, it was a very small group of like 5 people.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess the whole point of why I wanted to talk about this is like, you know, we're not saying Christian's bad, Christianity's bad,
No.
Catholicism. We're not saying that. We're just saying like, if you're going to believe in something, don't pick and choose what you want to believe or how. Although I do kind of mismatch all my things, like Randy, I'm a little
Don't
eclectic.
force your stuff onto other people. That was the
Right.
point. Is like,
Yeah, and if you're going to say that you're about love and tolerance and just spreading love and the word of love, but you're not doing that, that's where I'm just like, you know, let's just
walk the walk.
be like, look into yourself, judge yourself. If you feel like you need to judge someone else, go and judge yourself first. Judge yourself before you speak. And
because we all have a full plate. Like we all have, and I mean, I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I have enough of my own issues to deal with to keep me busy for the rest of my life. Right? Like I don't really need to be going and looking.
No, I don't need to pick apart.
More.
If I'm not feeling good about myself, I don't need to go find someone else to pick on them. Because that really doesn't make you feel any better. Maybe momentarily, but not in the long run. It doesn't fix whatever's upsetting you or making you feel bad about yourself. So,
and I don't think it's going to get you to heaven, despite what other Christians may think. I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening when they hit those pearly gates. Just my opinion.
So I can't wait to go see my grandma, who is Buddhist. I can't wait to see her in my heaven with my dogs, because you know they say dogs don't go to heaven, but they do. All dogs do go to heaven. So I will see my dogs, my grandma, and all the people who are not of the same faith as myself in my heaven. So
pets are the ones that get it right.
Okay, Rangie, Vicky, I'll see you guys there.
I'm going to be in the hot tub in the hot place, so you can come visit.
No, but it's my heaven. You'll be a part of some
okay.
form.
Okay. I mean, I think heaven is a construct of your own brain anyway. So sure, let's do that. I'll be there.
I'll see you there. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. It's a date.
I think heaven sounds like it would be a little cool in the mornings, and I prefer warmer weather. So maybe I'll come
down south. Yeah.
Well, I don't like the warmth. I don't like the warmth. I don't like the cold. I'm going to stay in perfect, whatever is perfect in my head.
Purgatory. You're just going to hang out in purgatory, Rach.
There you go.
Sounds boring.
There's a bunch of levels. It'll be fun.
Pick a side.
I'll because I can't decide. I'll just be in purgatory. I can't choose. Anyways. I think this is an interesting topic for others, for everyone listening, watching. I don't know. What are your thoughts, you guys? What do people think? Let us know.
Comment below.
Except for Vicky says, if you feel like judging her, don't think about it.
Be nice about it.
Be nice with your judgments. Okay. I always say trolls, it's okay. We like trolls. Go for it.
Be a nice troll.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this week. And yeah, next week is going to be special because we will be doing an episode on Halloween. So look forward to that. And we will see you next week. Next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.